Happy Tuesday. It's time to talk travel. And today, look, US Open tennis. We're talking sports travel, which is a massive industry in the US, massive. And I know this. I went a couple years ago down to Disney, to the Disney Wide World of Sports venue, where they host athletic teams, really mostly children of all ages. And essentially they shared a bunch of statistics then. And I looked them up this morning to see if they were any updated. And when you hear how big a business this is, I think it's going to surprise you even. But think about it personally. Do you travel for sports, for anything, whether it's your children? I have tons of friends who travel. I actually do. For my daughter, she did competitive cheer, so we'd be running off to North Carolina or what have you. And you end up spending a bundle between the hotels and the gas, the travel, if you have to fly there. I know most of my friends last year who have children who play baseball ended up going to Cooperstown. In fact, I have a friend that's there right now. And if you think about it, that town is baseball. And that's about it. If you think about like New York, okay, New York has a lot of other things going on, but I like to go every single year for the US Open. Here are the numbers that I wanted to run by you. 2005, $46.5 billion. $46.5 billion. That's the sports market revenue, total revenue. In 2017, so just 12 years later, they doubled that, $90.9 billion. $90.9 billion bucks. They said in the past 5 years, 75 million U.S. adults attended organized sports events. And I wonder if that surprises you. For me, I'm lucky. I'm in Atlanta, so I don't have to travel to see the Atlanta Braves play, which I love to do. I have a 45-minute commute. It's not a big deal, but I have friends who actually fly up to cover or to go to baseball games. I actually have one friend who has gone to all 50 ballparks around the country. Imagine what that travel expense is. But, you have a hobby or a passion, and for a lot of people, sports is it. I have a new friend who loves volleyball, and he travels for volleyball too, which I didn't even know was a thing. So, at any rate, we have baseball, football. Think about that. I know I've flown down for football games. When I'm in Florida, I try and get down to a Miami Dolphins game. For college football, oh, what an industry that is. I have not paid. I've actually been lucky enough to be given tickets to national championship games where all expenses were paid, but have relatives who've dropped 10 grand on one national championship game for two people. 10 grand. So anyways, I'm going to run through these numbers again. They said 2/5 of U.S. adults are sports travelers. And I wonder, what does that mean? So essentially, a sports traveler could be, in 84% of the cases, they're spectators. So they're not even playing. Like, it's one thing if you're going to drop 10 grand to go play in the sport, right? This is like lifetime honor. Maybe you're at the top of your game. Like my buddy who plays volleyball. This is not that case. These are most travelers are just watching. So whether it's the big baseball, the college games. In fact, they say most of these sports events travelers are college educated individuals, affluent. So they've got the money to spend, and mostly male, which surprises me a little bit because, to be honest, a lot of my friends who do the travel ball with their children, it's moms. And the interesting thing with sports travel for kids, especially with these tournaments now, I did a segment on this for TV probably about a year ago. And they do now what they call pay to play. So the teams are required to stay at the hotels that the tournament set up. Isn't that interesting? So I'm the kind of traveler, I like to stay where I want to stay, whether I have points for a place or I've worked out a deal, on a personal level as a travel writer, or say that I just have been there before. I love, like in Orlando, there's one particular hotel I really love to go to if I'm not staying on Disney property. And now the requirements are, for a lot of these tournaments, the teams are required to stay there. The players have to stay at whatever resort they pick, which I'm not really crazy about. I interviewed a friend of mine whose daughter plays soccer, travel soccer. She said she understood it because she also is a travel writer and really liked working at the hotel. I mean, who wants to pay $200 a night if you've already got points to stay somewhere for free? But then you're required. But she said, in all honesty, she had to for her kid. She said it's the camaraderie. Part of the travel is not just going out and playing, but it's what they do after the games. It's the fun they have. It's the bonding. It's that sort of thing. So there's that kind of sports travel. But then there's also the people who just want to go see the best of the best. That is me. My US Open thing, I can tell you I went 5 years straight trying to see Roger Federer play. because to me, he's a legend. I put him right up there with, some of the political figures you want to meet. But I paid not a little amount of money to go every single year. I also, I saw other things, but I was dying to see Federer. Finally did. The last time I went, got to watch him play. Also saw Serena Williams win a U.S. Open one year. These are like some of my best memories. I love that as a tennis player. This is interesting. It says that a lot of the sport tourism travelers, that's the niche, will travel long into retirement. So even after they're done playing or they're done raising the kids or what have you, they're booking their trips around sporting events. So think Olympics. Who doesn't want to go to the Olympics, right? They're willing to travel long distances and will spend more time and money at the destination and beyond. So it's not about just going for the game. It's also about going and, they'll see the area. Now, sometimes you draw the short stick, like some of these tournaments. Who really wants to go? And I don't want to badmouth a particular city, but not a big fan of Cleveland. So I don't really want to rush up to Cleveland to go watch a sporting event. However, Cincinnati hosts a really amazing tennis tournament, and I'd go there in a heartbeat. So again, part of it is seeing the destination. I remember when the Olympics were in Rio. I really wanted to get down there for that. But again, I'm on the flip side where I like to go when it's less busy and it's not, the prices aren't driven up because there happens to be a big tournament there. I guess I should throw in some tips because in all honesty, if you are going and going to deal with that, with, a lot of times the hotels, especially if it's a smaller town, you're going to deal with higher prices because they know you're a captive audience. You have to stay somewhere. That's why I think the Airbnbs have made a huge difference. So look into the Airbnbs. I still say look into Hotel Tonight. My buddy swears by Priceline. I don't know. I still haven't tried it. But Hotel Tonight's a good one if you need like a last minute kind of thing. But Airbnbs will buy you some time. And also ask if there are special discounts for memberships. I know with the U.S. Open, because I have an American Express, they have a deal with American Express. A lot of the places will do that. Here's a sports traveler. My cousin Buddy just joined. He is he's a baseball coach and travels all the time. In fact, the last time I was looking at going down to Orlando, he was having a tournament, and we talked about. I think it was the Gaylord that he was staying at. The bottom line is if you can connect with the team, a lot of times they will have special deals. So jump on that, book it as far in advance as you possibly can when it comes to the hotel and what have you, because they'll book up. And the more they book up, the less luck you're going to have in finding a place to stay. It's interesting because they have special membership, like when they break it down as far as what you're going to spend. You've got the hotel, you have the travel. There might be a travel agent that's going to make a dime or two, the tour operator, especially with these baseball tournaments. I'm telling you that it blew my mind that they had this pay to play policy that you can't choose where you want to stay. The suppliers. So you've got, the hotel chains, the car hires, the team. A lot of times they might want to travel together. So you've got a big old cargo van, travel insurance. Maybe you're doing a cruise with the team. Buddy, I think he says now, I'm heading to Omaha next Tuesday for the College World Series. That's so cool. And a tournament at the same time. That is so cool. I was wondering if you were in Cooperstown this week, buddy, because I saw a couple other friends who were in Cooperstown. You know what? How cool is that? The College World Series. I love it. Hi, Linda. You can tell me if you've traveled. I know Linda's based near Tuscaloosa. My son went to University of Alabama, and he traveled with the team. Remember how I was talking about my a family member who paid $10,000 to go watch some national championships? They were Notre Dame fans. Alabama won. Buddy says, go Gators. Yeah, go Gators. Again, I've been to 2 national championships for the Gators. That was a great time, but I had less than 24 hours there, so I didn't get to maximize the pleasure. The next one was Miami, and that was a Chili's sweepstakes that my friend Debbie won and brought me along for because I'm a good luck charm for the Gators. At any rate, and Linda says Roll Tide because she's a true Bama fan. Her daughter, what do they call the majorettes there? Linda, you'll have Crimsonettes. She was a Crimsonette. My son, who played in the marching band, they actually paid him to travel with the band. How cool is that, right? So anyways, there are all kinds of, you have the restaurants that people are going to eat at. You have all of it. I'm going to see if I can pull up a couple other stats that might be interesting. They're saying that tourism attractions, that's interesting. They're saying the game, the actual Bama Bell. Oh, I thought the Crimsonettes were all this. Okay, Bama Bells. Gotcha. This is kind of interesting. They say that The actual location, the sport is considered the destination, while sporting facilities are considered tourist attractions. And even this, I will tell you, I got to go watch my friend playing volleyball maybe 2 weekends ago. And they were up in, if you live anywhere near Atlanta, there's Cartersville. Cartersville doesn't have a whole lot to see. There's not, everybody from Cartersville pretty much comes down to Atlanta. It's sort of the city on the way to Dalton where you get carpet. That's kind of what I think Cartersville is. But at any rate, they have this massive indoor venue now where they had volleyball games going nonstop for 2 days. And all I could think is, who knew it was there to begin with? But second, how genius, because I bet they can hold tournaments nonstop. I know when I lived in Panama City Beach, they, the CVB, the Convention and Visitors Bureau, got the city to approve I'm really reading Linda's things, a recruiter. She recruited under Stallings. Bama Bell's a recruiter for this school? That's interesting. Tell me more about that. That's a whole nother Facebook, I bet. But at any rate, back to what I was talking about. I lost my whole train of thought on that. Talking about the indoor venue and how they could do events nonstop. In Panama City Beach, the city council had to approve a special referendum where they added a baseball venue, so they could hold more tournaments because they realized these are what they call heads in beds. The money they can make for tourism. And a lot of the times when they wouldn't otherwise have traffic coming through. So they said there are 3 different types of sport tourism. Sport event tourism, so things like the Olympics, World Cup rugby, cricket, soccer, World Tennis Association. Then there's active sports tourism, which is more like the individuals who participate. So your volleyball guy, your baseball player, your traveling team, that sort of thing. Then on top of that, the last category is the nostalgia sports tourism. So that would be, say, Cooperstown, where you go to the baseball. I think they have the Hall of Fame up there. I remember being a little kid. My dad was from up there, and we went in some museum type. I don't know. We threw pitches to see how fast we could hit. I know for tennis, the Newport in Newport, Rhode Island, they've got a tennis museum there. Here in Atlanta, College Football Hall of Fame. That's an amazing venue. If you're into football at all, you got to love it. So at any rate, the whole point is this is a huge giant in the tourism pie, sports travel, if you've got a big old niche. And I think a lot of people don't even realize that that's what their passion is. Oh, ski slopes. That's another one. When you think about it, all the previous venues. So here in Atlanta, they do, we have movie tours. So they shot Hunger Games here, and I love to go on the old sets. But they also had the set where I was for, if you're into Hunger Games, the cornucopia scene where they all are on their big pedestals and they have to rush toward the center or rush toward the exit. That actual cornucopia where they shot it is here in Atlanta at the same venue where they had the Olympic volleyball games. Isn't that cool? So a lot of people like to go, like the ski slopes that are used for the Winter Olympics. I have friends that were just up there doing that, seeing that. There's just a whole other category. There's indoor and outdoor stadiums. Sometimes it's kind of sad because a lot of times those venues get ignored after the fact. And they kind of fall apart. I think they said that about here in Atlanta. I want to say there was a tennis stadium. I don't know. Now they host, in fact, this morning I was supposed to be at an event with the BB&T Open, which draws in a lot of people, mostly Atlanta, but a lot of people from the Southeast, where they're talking about the players who are going to be there this year, Jack Sock, John Isner. And I think I even saw they've got something with women this year, which they've never done. They have, Sloane Stevens and Keys is her last name. I can't remember. They just played actually in the French Open. In fact, Sloane Stevens was in the finals for the French Open. Didn't win, but she was there. She's sort of, everybody thinks like Serena's the next big thing for U.S. tennis. But at any rate, so all these things draw in the traffic, all of it. I'm curious, where have you gone? What kind of trips have you booked for travel? Where have you gone? Where would you say this is an event not to miss? For me, U.S. Open. If you like tennis, book it, go, make it happen, because in all honesty, there's no other place like it. I went 1 year for Labor Day weekend, which is before the finals. So, but what's cool about that is you can walk around the venue and see tennis going on, like 30 different matches all at once. And you're 50 feet from the professionals who you watch every weekend on TV. So that's super cool. And essentially, I think there's just a huge niche. I think that if you have any desire to follow the greats, there's no reason you shouldn't do like what Buddy said, heading off to, to the college baseball World Series, or, the college teams. You can go to any college scene and see it. But I think it's the bowl games. It's the big ones. You just want to say, hey, I was there. And again, the tips for that are the tips for any other kind of travel. It's when you book it, taking advantage of the deals. Don't, unless you're required, like those tournaments where it's paid to play, unless you're required to do that, use those points, find the deals on the travel sites I always tell you guys about. And I'll post the link. In fact, I need to get that magazine article written about travel deals, but I'll post a link to that as soon as I have it up. On the best places to find it. The unfortunate part is usually with travel deals, they're gone. You have to be flexible. So if you're required to be in a certain city on a certain date, you're really you're handcuffed. You're going to have to do it. But at any rate, it's still a good time and still some of the best memories I've ever had. For me, US Open by far, the Gators National Championships, those are super cool. And then I would just say on a smaller level, like watching the kids play, watching my daughter in the cheerleading tournaments, the cheerleading competitions, because again, it's the camaraderie. Say that 3 times fast. It's about connecting with the other people. And again, at these events, it is community. Anyways, that is my time to talk travel today. BB&T Open in Atlanta is coming. I'll post the dates on that too, because I have to do a whole blog post on that. And again, that's an easy thing. You don't have to travel far, and you don't have to spend a ton of money, but you can still see some of the greats, and you can be really up close and personal, kind of like spring training for baseball. Instead of going to the big stadiums, getting to watch them, in the smaller venues. At any rate, all right, let me know where you like to travel. In the meantime, have a great week.